Today I want to show you a little bit about a high level of what Git and GitHub and Bitbucket are. And you might have heard of GitHub because it's very popular. So Git is a tool that a lot of people use for developing their software, and it lets you track essentially changes and manage your project. It manages the source code essentially of a project, and it lets you do different things that allow you to work in a team and not have to worry about people changing things and then losing work because people work on the same thing. So it lets you essentially work on large projects with different people and be able to still keep track of the history and what's going on in the project. So it makes it really good for large teams, but also even for small teams, even as small as one. I like to use GitHub and also Bitbucket for my own personal projects. As we can see here, you can sign up. It's free for public repositories. So if you want to host like an open source type of project and let everybody else see it, GitHub lets you do that for free. If you want to do private repos on GitHub, it costs money. But you can add many people to that repository once you start paying for it. If you want to host free repos that only you see and it's only one person, um, Bitbucket is great for that. I use both of these, like I said, and I think both of them are great for different purposes. I think GitHub's interface is a little bit nicer and it's also more popular from what I can tell. So you have GitHub and it has many popular repositories. So you might have heard of Facebook and React, and this is a library that Facebook created, and it has this great page here on GitHub, which actually includes the history of the project and what's been happening. So you can actually see the history by going to the commit history, which means this is one change that somebody made. And so, for example, here's something that got changed from this to this. So these were the two changes that were made in this part. There's many more. So some of them are small, some of them are bigger. So this is kind of cool because you can visualize how something changed. And in certain projects, like especially for your team, you can actually give feedback and comment on each line. So what people will do is usually called a pull request, which means when you have your code, you'll usually work either on a different fork or on a different branch. I mostly use branches, which are, if you think about a tree, you can have your main, I guess, master branch, and that branch can have other branches coming off of it. And people will branch off the master branch, which is what everybody will be working off, and develop a new feature. But even those smaller branches can have different branches that branch off that branch, which will make it such that people can work on the same feature, but not merge that feature until that feature is actually done. So there's a different styles of working and different get quote unquote flows that people will use to work in different teams. You can see here that you have a fork, which means you can make an entire clone of this repository. So this one hosted by Facebook, but you could have your own fork of React that actually goes completely away from the React project. Or you could also use forking for contributing to open source and merging back by submitting like a pull request. You can also see the stars and the number of people watching this repo. That just is a metric that lets you see how many people have, starred this repo, and more popular ones will have obviously more stars. So you can see here, these guys have a lot of people watching this. Rails is another one that's hosted on GitHub. I believe GitHub was or is at least um, using some parts of Rails to this date. Um, so yeah, that's kind of an overview of kind of at a high level what GitHub is. And Git is a command line tool that you can install on your computer, which will let you actually interact with GitHub. It's a pretty simple process. I can show you guys how to set it up and how to work with these tools. There's also like a command line application for GitHub that they provide if you don't want to. Sorry, a visual interface that they provide, and other people will also release third-party Git clients that work with GitHub or Git in general. And this one is actually pretty cool because it's very simple. But you can also use a command line and just use Git um, here to work, which is what a lot of people, most people will do. It's just a matter of preference. Both of them work great. The command line is a little bit more powerful for the most part, but it's kind of the high level overview. I'll do other videos with maybe more of the details. So let me know what you guys want to learn. Thank you.